Welcome back to another episode. As the tech bubble bursts, I think people are finally starting to agree with me that things are changing in the tech industry, particularly for startups. I think the age of easy VC startup funding and big tech compensation packages are going away. If you see this in the background, that is a kitten in the background playing. Let me show you. This is Selena. She is not a Siamese cat. She's a faux Siamese cat with a cute little tail. She's a sweetie kitty, blue eye. But let's get into the news. China has asked TikTok for a stealth propaganda account. Now, that's a big deal. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. The Chinese government, CCP, technically owns all the companies in China, not like with money, but they have rights to get access any information they want from companies in China. These companies in China have, they owe something to the CCP. Please don't quote me on this. I don't really know what I'm talking about. You can find more resources online, but China is asking for a stealth propaganda account, and that's a big deal because the CCP can ask for that from TikTok, and the CCP is really famous for the propaganda accounts, but they're not as common on platforms that are used by more Western culture, or basically America, China, Australia, Europe. And in other news, something else China is not excited about: the CHIPS Act passed in the Senate after 52 billion became 280 billion to fund scientific research. Now, I covered this in another video, but the CHIPS Act is to promote semiconductor production in the US. Right now, Taiwan is the leading manufacturer of semiconductor and microchip technologies. Taiwan, the company, that's beefing with China. And that is part of the reason we are, quote, headed to a World War III, because China wants to commandeer Taiwan as their own, and Taiwan is not interested. So there's a conflict going on there. And the US is not the only company that is increasing its microchip production. I know Spain is investing government money into building a microchip and semiconductor building industry, but the US has finally passed an act. Now, Bernie Sanders is not excited about this. He mentions that a lot of the money just goes straight to corporate companies in a corporate welfare type of environment. Seeing the number go from 52 billion to like not even double or triple is just so much higher than they expected. That blows my mind, and it makes me think, money printer burr. Now, semiconductor companies, the industry, those factories, they don't produce an amazingly high number of jobs. Amazon produces a lot of jobs because they have the warehouse, factory, and delivering, a lot of factors in there. But these manufacturing companies, they rely a lot more on processes, robotics, so they don't hire as many number of people. I've heard from someone that's in Phoenix now. I asked them about the building of these companies. There's a specific company, I don't remember the name, that's building a semiconductor microchip manufacturing company in Arizona. And he mentioned that there really wasn't that big of an increase in the jobs brought to the area by that company. So it's exciting to see that pass, and giving more incentive to the US to not become involved in a World War III, hopefully, but it's not going to create as many jobs as you would expect from spending $280 billion. Next in news, Apple profits decline by 11%. Now, Apple's really impacted by that high earning customer. Apple can depend on people having brand loyalty, continually buying the iPhone or iMac season after season, and they openly admit that a large amount of their customers are earning over six figures a year and generally are the upper middle class or upper class. Well, seeing them decline in earnings is a big deal. Apple doesn't just sell computers, right? So there's definitely an impact from their customer that is pulling away from either services or the actual product. Apple is one of those companies that offers a huge compensation package. They have stocks, but clearly the stocks aren't doing so well. So I think that's going to further impact this tech bubble burst. When you see one of the A in FAANGs losing profit, that should be a warning sign to everyone in the tech industry to check out your company. Is it really secure? Is it an e-com company? Maybe it's a healthcare startup company or a logistic company. All of these companies have been mentioned in my startup video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can check that out when I upload it. Or are you in an industry that might be recession-proof in this recession? I don't think there's a lot of tech companies that are recession-proof going forward. So this is your warning sign if you are interviewing for jobs. Just get the process over and take a job offer. If you're slacking off on your job, maybe now is not the time for that. But another FAANG company, Google CEO tells employees that they're going to do a productivity sprint, expecting to let go of 10% of the staff. I said this before, this is why the tech bubble is bursting. A lot of tech companies have been able to afford to run with less productive services and higher compensation packages. When your stocks are growing, you can just focus on growth in the company. You don't need to focus on improving processes and reducing costs. But when the growth slows down, then you have to look backwards and fix broken processes. There are people working at Google right now that probably are not working at 100% capacity, or possibly they got into the company through a referral, not through their independent skills and qualifications. And Google is saying right there that they are going to gather employee feedback as much as possible to improve efficiency. That sounds really stressful in the company culture. Just imagine that someone on your team is saying that you are a efficiency problem on your team, and to reduce complications and delays of work, that you need to be laid off. Sounds kind of awkward. Another FAANG company, Facebook will no longer offer U.S. publishers like New York Times or CNN money for their content. Facebook is really prominent and popular because of its news feed, because it's a place to find news, especially for people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It seems to be an older website. And a lot of those companies do find a lot of their revenue through sharing this information online. And clearly they made a profit from Facebook. So Facebook is saying no. Meta, I'm sorry, it's Meta now. But Meta is saying no, we need to improve our profit. That's something you should watch out for. But Meta has already said that it's going to slow hiring. Metaverse jobs are slowing down. Number one, because the FTC has sued Meta. So there's a lot of drama going on. The FTC said that Meta is trying to create a monopoly by creating the Metaverse and sued Facebook. I don't really know a ton about the lawsuit, but clearly Meta is responding by reducing the number of Metaverse jobs that it offers. So the FAANG companies out there are really hurting, and that is a sign that things are changing in tech. I think there is a startup bubble burst where these startup companies are no longer able to get cheaper, more affordable, easier funding. But also it's going to hit these bigger companies like Oracle, Facebook, and Google. This is not a recession that's particular to one industry. Since COVID was not particular to one industry, it affected every industry in some way. So you will see the big players in tech suffer, These startup companies won't stand alone in their suffering, but other companies laying off, you would not expect. OnlyFans is laying off. Now, we all heard about OnlyFans in the news a few weeks or months ago because people were getting insanely rich. Like, people were making $1 million in 24 hours. Like, I think Bad Baby. And it was really a revolution because Gen Z, younger kids, really got on the app, obviously because they're young and more attractive, but it was also a way to make money. Way to make a lot of money without having the hurdles of regular employment, getting a skill set, having a good resume and good tenure. You could just go onto OnlyFans, post some content, and suddenly you are a six-figure earner like these software startup engineers. And so to see even OnlyFans is affected. There's going to be a lot of people out there outside the tech industry that rely on the tech industry to earn a lot of money. These people will be affected when those companies are affected. It could reduce the amount of customer support they have, the amount of marketing the company may contribute, or maybe this is just a sign that the website is becoming less popular in general. But that's interesting news. If you watch my channel, you know that EV companies are struggling, and Amazon, another FAANG, is not immune to these struggles in the EV industry. Riven is a company that's owned by Amazon. They've made a bundle loads of EV vehicles. They have a lot more in production coming, but they've only sold officially a very small percentage of the stock. I know for sure less than 20%, and they've announced their own layoffs in the company. It sounds like it's becoming a headache for Amazon and Ford. Riven is actually a publicly traded company. They had a blockbuster IPO, raised $11.9 billion, the largest IPO of 2021. And the company was valued at $66.5 billion. But the price has plummeted, and Amazon has reported losses of $11.5 billion. Oof, that is painful. During that same period, Ford lost $7.9 billion. Wow, that is super painful to hear, but it's a sign about the EV industry. The automotive industry in general is in a bubble. I have another video about that I'll put in the description. But you're seeing signs now that EV is not immune, even when the current administration wants to promote EV technology in vehicles. The industry and the consumer needs to respond. Right now, the consumer isn't even buying Apple as much as it used to. So it may not prioritize EV vehicles, especially in a lot of states in the US. You cannot travel long distance with EVs because there's just not a network set up for EV charging. Amazon is also killing their Amazon Drive project, which is a cloud storage product. Now, if you know Amazon in the tech industry, you know AWS, Amazon Web Services. So it's interesting to hear that they're killing a cloud-based project at Amazon Drive. I had never really heard of it, and I never used it, so maybe that's why they are killing the service. But clearly Amazon is trying to watch how much money that they spend and cut costs in different ways. And in this time, as companies look closer at productivity, I think we could expect the protest, what do they call it? We can expect protest wear to increase, and apparently it's on the rise according to TechCrunch. That is when a developer will either pull code out of a database or a code base. They will restrict access to things in some way to secure their job. People call this job security, which on the employer point of view, it is them being immoral and not fair. But yeah, the employee, not the employer, the employee thinks that it's a job security. And I could imagine this would increase in a time when a lot of people feel insecure about their jobs. Please let me know in the comments below, are you part of protest wear, or have you seen that happen in your company? That is when someone, a developer, just takes all the code with them when they quit the company, or they make things so complicated that only they can work on that code base. They can't make updates or changes. I've seen this happen in the freelance industry for years. People will hire a web developer to make a website, and then that web developer will put some sort of password or restrict access to the original code base, meaning if an update is needed to be made, they have to go to that developer to make that update, or they have to completely redo the website. So that developer kind of creates a job security by having consistent income, a customer that has to come to the developer to update the website. But that's my tech news, another episode to the tech industry news. Thanks for visiting my channel and watching this video. Let me know your comments below. Please subscribe to my channel. My subscriber view numbers are better. About 75% of people now are not subscribing. I have like 114 subscribers, so that's nothing. Please help me out, and I appreciate it if you have subscribed. Thanks for checking out this video and checking out my channel. I'll see you in the next one.